Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's Playing Tonight, the podcast where two best friends pick movies for each other and we can't say no, we have to watch it, and then we can talk about it. I'm joined here with my co-host, the silver-eyed wolf himself.
Also known as Nate.
Also known as Nate, primarily known as Nate, some would say.
Yeah.
And, this is episode number 2. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Got to watch one of my favorite, time travel movies, science fiction movies.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
What else have you been watching lately?
I watched the first episode of Moon Knight.
Oh, how is that? I haven't gotten around to that yet.
I liked it a lot. I'm not very familiar with Moon Knight, so I'm not exactly sure how accurate it is. But so far, it's pretty promising in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I'll probably watch it tonight, maybe.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. It's fun.
Yeah, it looks pretty decent. As for me, I haven't really been watching too much.
Yeah.
Lately. I'm still on the Elden Ring train. I launched Resident Evil 3 earlier. Played that for a couple of hours, until I died. Then I was like, nah, I'm good for now. Too spooky for me. What, are you still on the Dragon Age?
Yes, but I've kind of taken a hiatus on it and have been playing a game called For the King with a friend of mine from a previous job I had.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is For the King?
I'm not entirely sure how to explain it. It's, you pick a character with a group of other people and basically kind of like a JRPG kind of thing. Parties versus monsters and stuff.
Oh, okay. But it's multiplayer?
Yeah.
Oh.
You can pick either, if you play solo, you can pick 3 characters, but if you play with other people, you can pick 1 character.
Okay. All right. Well, Nate, on this show, I explained it earlier, but since we are a fairly new show, I feel like I can explain it again, maybe a little bit cleaner than earlier. We do this thing where one of us will pick a movie, and the other person can't say no, they have to watch it. So last week, I picked The Evil Dead, and that means it was your turn to pick this week.
Yes, and I picked Frequently Asked Questions About Time Travel, which was released April 24th, 2019, or 2009. So, what'd you think, buddy?
What did I think?
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really, I didn't have a strong reaction to it one way or the other, I guess. There were some parts that definitely made me laugh. This is a comedy, a sci-fi comedy.
Yes, a sci-fi time traveling comedy featuring 3 friends just encountering a time anomaly.
Yeah, a very severe time anomaly.
Yes.
And, I thought there were some parts that made me laugh. I thought, I've seen a lot of time travel stuff. I don't really know what I could say about that. I guess it held up to the standard of time travel stuff.
The people that I've talked to and have convinced to watch this before have definitely been a split group. There's either people who are like, oh yeah, it's good, but leaning more towards it's mediocre, so like more middle of the lane kind of thing, or people who actually really like it and just think it's like a hidden gem.
So what brought you to pick this movie?
Well, I always like to kind of bring this more awareness to this film. Again, it's not very well known. It was a low budget film, and it didn't make very much money when it was in box office. I don't know if it made more than what the budget was originally, but it was not very well received by a couple of critics. One in particular made me laugh, actually. His name was Peter Bradshaw from The Guardian, and his review was, and I quote, "The worst film of the week. a dire British comedy to which the only honest response is to soil and then set fire to the Union flag in foyer of the local cinema. That's pretty harsh in my opinion.
I think that might be a little extreme.
But hilarious, because I love nitpicking. And this person he obviously had some issues with this film.
I have some issues with this film. Not really that many though. It's not. I wasn't offended.
Yeah.
By that we watched this. It's just one of those middle of the road movies for me. I didn't hate it and I didn't love it.
Understandable. Even as much as I enjoy the film, there are definitely things that I nitpick about. I nitpick everything. For example, the ending of the film doesn't really make sense according to most time travel theories and whatnot. Because, spoiler alert, by the way.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil these movies when we talk about them.
At the end of the film, they kind of reset their time status, and things don't really line up with resetting it. Because if they had reset it, why would the piece of paper be covered in beer? If they reset it, why do they remember all of the things that happened? So the reset doesn't really make sense, in my opinion. But, again, it's a comedy time travel film, so I give it a little bit of leeway in that regard.
This is something I've been thinking about this all week, actually. And it's something I want to ask you. Because I do know that you like to nitpick movies.
Yes.
And that you also like time travel movies.
Yes.
But like time travel movies are some of the most like easy to nitpick movies that have ever existed.
Yeah.
Because the very nature of time travel itself can often lead to things that don't make sense.
Yes.
Pseudoscience, all that stuff.
Yes, some of my favorite things.
Okay, but you enjoy picking apart these movies.
Yes.
So the nitpick is not a detriment to you.
No, not at all. It's actually a bonus feature.
I'm learning more about you. This might explain your taste a little bit to me.
Understandable, yeah. I know you see my taste in movies as a bit easygoing.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
Yeah,
I would say I think I made the comment earlier off the show that it would be hard for me to pick bad movies to watch to torture you because you like everything.
Yes, and that's because I can nitpick and make fun of things.
Fair enough, I guess. So this movie, you got some notes there. Tell me about the crew. Tell me about the cast, director.
All right. So the main three male leads of the film are played by Chris O'Dowd, and I apologize if I mess up any of these names, but Chris O'Dowd, who plays Ray, he's the time traveling loving nut of the group. He is fascinated with time travel actually probably more so than I am. So he and his two friends, Toby, who's played by Mark Wooten, and Pete, who's played by Dean Lennox Kelly. Toby is more along the same lines as Ray. He is a Imagineer. They don't like to be called nerds. They believe it's a derogatory term towards them. And Pete is more of the asshole of the group.
Yeah, I would say he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah. He gets a little bit better over the film because he has a bit more life experience by the end of the film than they do, due to time travel shenanigans. But overall, he's definitely the more realistic of the group when it comes to tastes. He doesn't really care about fiction all that much.
No, explicitly states that he hates science fiction or sci-fi.
But he does love Narnia.
Which is funny because the deeper you go into the Narnia books, they almost become science fiction. Yeah, there's a lot of science fiction and fantasy elements in that series.
Yeah. And then the female lead is Anna Faris. She is the time traveler who tries to kind of help our trio of misbegotten time traveling comrades. So,
well put.
Thank you. I will say that I've seen a lot of time travel machinery and whatnot, and their explanation for the time travel machinery in this is interesting. A time machine built into the bones that are replaced with, what was it, polymer? Something like that?
Technobabble, adamantium, vibranium, yeah.
Yeah, some kind of synthetic alloy that allows them to time travel. Which, I gotta say, I love the idea of that. To be able to time travel just at will without having to need an external source would be awesome, in my opinion.
I wonder, because we did say this is we could not find any information on the budget.
No.
I wonder.
It does say low budget.
It does say low budget. I wonder if the reason that there's no actual time machine in the movie is because maybe they didn't have the budget to put one in.
I mean, that is entirely possible. That they make a point of using a toy prop gun and letting you know that it's a toy prop gun when he uses it, because it's a part of the story. But everything that is regards to the time traveling aspect is just the actors themselves.
And this is a cheap looking movie.
Yes, it is a very cheap looking film.
Now, a low budget doesn't always mean a bad thing. We saw that last week. They had no budget for that movie.
Yeah.
I will say there are some things in this movie that look like garbage.
Yeah.
The CGI, especially for the ant.
Yes.
Just its mouth just kind of morphs onto the guy's head when it bites it off.
I kind of liked that aspect to it, because it kind of gave me the feel of a campy old time science fiction film, like what they would imagine or the future would look like in an older film. So, I mean, it does, obviously it's probably because of the budget, but I like it because it gives the feel of an old sci-fi film.
Now, I could see that because there were definitely references to other things, a lot of references to other things. Yeah. Even in the first couple opening minutes, that opening credits scene is ripped straight out of Christopher Reeve's Superman from back in the day. Back in the day, 1978.
Yeah, we weren't around then.
That was back in the day before our day.
Yeah. Back in the before time.
The land before time. Which is our next movie. I'm just kidding.
Oh, man, you got my hopes up for a second.
No, we're not doing that. This movie was directed by Gareth Karavik.
Yeah, I think that's how you say his name. And when they released it on, I think, streaming, they actually dedicated it to him.
Yeah, I was just looking up information about him, and I noticed that it was his last movie because he passed away
due to leukemia.
Wow.
Yeah. So they dedicated it to him when they released it, I believe, on streaming, which it's cool. It's a very sad thing to hear about that.
Yeah, it is a very sad thing to kind of just stumble upon,
especially for a film that I like so much.
Yeah.
But if he liked it even half as much as I do, then it's a fitting homage.
I think so too. Just looking at some of the other cast members, Chris O'Dowd, our main guy. Did you know that he is in Thor: The Dark World?
I did actually. I believe his name, he played the character, Richard,
Yeah,
I think.
I see that, and I'm like, I don't remember who that even is in that movie.
I want to say he was the guy flirting with, I forgot her name now.
Kat Dennings?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say it was him. I knew him mainly from Bridesmaids. And
I've never seen Bridesmaids. Anna Faris is in that too, isn't she?
I don't think so. She might have played a part in it. I'm not sure. But I don't think she was any of the main characters. And also Gulliver's Travels.
I have not seen Gulliver's Travels. Is that the one with Jack Black?
Yes.
No, I haven't seen that. I tend to avoid that guy.
I
know. Hot take, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. But those two movies are the ones I know him mainly from. Other than that, I've seen him in, like, side roles in a lot of other films.
Yeah.
I think this is actually the first film I've seen him as the main person. One of the main characters.
Hey, you know what? Me too.
Yeah. And then Anna Faris is obviously from, like, Scary Movie franchise.
Yeah, Anna Faris I'm a little bit more familiar with.
Yeah. And then she did a series, I think, called Mom, which I guess ran for quite a while, so it had to have been at least popular to some. I never really watched it. And then I actually just learned about it that she was the voice of Sparks from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
That is true.
Which, another film I really, really like.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I haven't watched it in a really long time. I think I did see it in theaters, though.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I did enjoy it. I'm always a big fan of pseudoscience and quirky inventors, which is probably why I love Back to the Future so much as well.
So I was looking up some things because it was interesting, and I can't remember like any of the music from this movie besides like Total Eclipse of the Heart. But as far as like the orchestra, the score goes, so it was composed by a guy named James L. Venable.
Okay.
Venable. He is known for his scores to the animated television series The Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack.
Oh, dang.
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Yeah, like the
dude's got some history,
especially with Cartoon Network. And then he also did the music for Scary Movie 3, which is just funny.
Yeah,
and Scary Movie 4, and Scary Movie 5. That
I wonder if
exists.
I wonder if his connection to Anna Faris might have brought him into this then, because this came out after the Scary Movie films.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. That's pure speculation on my part. The other actors though, Mark Wooten, who played Toby, a lot of them are more in the British movies and TVs.
We should talk about how British this movie is.
It is, but it's also placed in Britain.
Yes.
So it's unabashedly the way it is. Even to the point where they make a joke about everyone in the future is American because the two people from the future speak in
an American accents. Right. And in the parallel universe as well, apparently.
Well, I consider her, because it's still Anna Faris' character.
But it can't be the same Anna Faris because she's from a different universe.
See, that's the great thing about these types of movies. We're not sure because she specifically states the time when he spilt the pint.
That if you start asking questions, the logic falls apart.
It's going to tear it apart easily.
Yeah, just much like how reality was being torn apart in this movie that we watched.
Yeah. So yeah, people from the future are apparently all American.
Well, he says that as a joke. I don't think that's meant to be.
Yeah, no, obviously that's not.
Yeah.
Real, but it is a hilarious little thing that they decided to add because they only met two people from the future, and they're like, oh yeah, that must be it. And then by the way, the other time traveler was Meredith McNeil.
Yes.
And she apparently is heavily featured in the film or in the series Baroness von Sketch Show and Pretty Hard Cases. One of them is, I think, a comedy sketch show, kind of like a Monty Python used to be. And the other one, I think, is supposed to be like a comedy CSI kind of show.
Oh, okay.
I've only seen little bits of them.
No, I haven't seen.
I've only seen little bits.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that.
And that was through doing a little bit of research for this. Dean Lennox Kelly actually has had quite a bit of work.
Pete?
Yeah.
The jerk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently he was in Doctor Who.
Really?
He played Shakespeare.
Oh, I haven't seen every episode of Doctor Who, so I might have missed that one.
I saw a screenshot of him as Shakespeare, and I do remember the episode. It was almost all Doctor Who episodes are good, but it was a good one. But he also has been played in Shameless, Jamestown, and Shadow and Bones are his most recent works.
Shadow and Bones, is that the one on Netflix?
Yes. I don't know what role he plays in it. But I think he's also, I think he's supposed to be unrecognizable. He doesn't really look like he does. But Shameless, I've only seen a few episodes of that. Not really my cup of tea. But, yeah, okay. It's okay.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I think I know maybe 5 people who watch Shameless.
Yeah.
They're pretty shameless themselves.
I'll allow it.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that's about it for the... Oh, and Toby.
Oh, how could we forget Toby?
Yeah, Toby... I will say Toby's probably my favorite character to nitpick in the movie.
Is it because you see so much of yourself in him?
No, it might be because I see so much of another friend in him. But at the very end of the film, Toby is given basically an ultimatum. Live and be obscure, or die and be a legend. I can't imagine not picking the living and being obscure part. I guess my lack of drive to be a legend kind of prevents that.
So do you think this friend would have wanted to die to become a legend rather than live in obscurity?
No. That aspect of Toby, I don't think my friend doesn't equate well. It's more of Toby's personality and how he interacts with his friends. But yeah, he's a tough one to crack, Toby.
Toby is a tough one to crack.
Yeah. He also is very aggressive all of a sudden in certain parts of the film.
Yeah, especially at the very end when he's
Yeah.
fighting about that scrap of paper with the story on it.
Or when they're hiding in the stall, he's like, don't make a...
Yeah, I noticed that too, yeah.
Like, he puts a weapon up to his friend's throat and he's like, don't make a peep or anything. He becomes very scary very quickly and effectively. I wouldn't have imagined Toby to be like that up to that point.
I was frightened.
Yeah. But apparently his most recent thing has been a series called Gooseberry, which no clue what that is.
It sounds very British.
Yeah, started in 2020, and I have not seen anything about it, so I don't know. But it's good to see that they're all pretty active, at least.
Yeah, it seems like they mostly, a lot of them have stayed busy relatively since this movie. This came out in 2009.
Yeah. And they've all had pretty frequent jobs, either on series or films.
Yeah. It's, when do you think we're going to get the frequently asked questions about time travel sequel?
I wish there was going to be one, but I've only seen, people asking about it. I have not seen anything concrete. So, probably never.
How about the American remake?
Oh, now that would be interesting because I'd also like to see who they would cast. And if they switched the roles of Anna Faris's character and cast a British person, and they would make the joke that, oh, I guess everybody in the future is British.
Yeah, they could do that, I suppose.
I would be very interested in seeing that. Now I'm going to have to try to come up with a dream cast of...
Do it right now.
Okay. Let's see here. Ray, I would guess I'd pick, no. We'll go with Toby first. Seth Rogen. I'd pick Seth Rogen for Toby. Ray would be, he played, Tommy in Third Rock from the Sun.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah. He could be Ray. And then Neil Patrick Harris would be Pete. He can play an asshole when he needs to.
And then who would be Anna Faris's counterpart?
I don't know very many British actresses off the top of my head.
He's thinking. He's really thinking.
I am. This is a very important subject to me. I'm probably butchering her name. Yvonne Strahovski.
Is she British?
No, but she does a very good British accent.
Oh, okay.
Again,
that's kind of cheating, don't you think?
No. If a person can pull off another person's or another nation's accent.
Comment down in the comments below if you think that's cheating. Dear listeners.
Yeah. I think she's European at least.
Yeah, they're all the same. Anyway, yeah. So, okay, well, I'll do it too.
Just like Canadians and Americans.
Yes, we're all the same. I will do it too, for my American cast. Who's the main guy's name?
Ray.
Ray, will be played by Nicolas Cage.
Oh, that would be a fantastic pick for a crazy film.
And then Pete is the jerk character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be played by Jonah Hill.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. And then, the Toby, he's the writer.
The writer he's gotta pull off a scary.
He can pull off a scary?
Yeah.
Alright, in that case, Toby, he's gonna be played by Jack Nicholson.
Okay.
He's a writer and he's scary.
Yes. This is gonna be an older cast.
I'm just throwing out names here.
Oh, okay.
And then, Cassie, will be played by, Emily Blunt. That is a female British actress. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. I like a lot of the stuff that she's been in.
Yeah. What was the last thing she was in?
Was it Mary Poppins?
I think so.
Mary Poppins or Quiet Place 2, probably.
I've never seen the Quiet Place movies.
You don't like horror movies, though. I don't
No.
know if you would like it. It might be too scary for you.
But I do remember after they came out that people started talking about her and the husband in that film to be Reed Richards and Sue Storm.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
If they want to go for like a
more
serious tone, which I don't know if I want that for Fantastic Four, but also I think it'd be a good idea to pick older actors instead of having them be teenagers or college students.
Yeah.
Just for those characters, I think.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And then...
So this is actually, we watched this on HBO Max, and I saw in the credits that it is it's like co-produced by HBO.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, did it even come out in theaters over here, or?
I don't think so, because when I looked for the gross, amount it made, in theaters, it only showed for United Kingdoms.
Okay.
It did not show anything about US.
That would make sense. So it was kind of this is 2009, so this is like a pre-streaming, direct-to-streaming thing.
Yeah.
Like going to streaming. HBO was doing it way back then.
We Americans got the direct-to-streaming firsthand for that. Which,
in a way, I guess you could say that it was ahead of its time. I didn't even mean to make that pun, but No one will believe me.
Yeah, just like no one believed Ray.
So this movie was 83 minutes long, and I appreciated that.
Yes.
I can't tell you how much I appreciated that. Not because the movie was terrible, but because I think that the shorter the movie sometimes, the better.
I definitely agree that for this film, if it had carried on any further, then it would have been a detriment to it.
I think you're right.
They played out pretty much everything that they could, which I appreciate. And the ending of it, I like that it kind of leaves it open if they were to want to do a sequel. Parallel universe kind of thing. Awesome. And again, I don't know, I just love the way it almost feels like they kind of make fun of time travel in a way.
Oh, for sure.
And as much as I love time travel, sometimes the things you love need to be humbled sometimes.
Yeah, we really needed to humble time travel.
Yeah.
It was getting a little too big for its britches.
The time travel genre.
Yeah, we need to take time travel down a peg.
Yeah, there's a bunch of time travel movies that even I'm not a big fan of. And because they take themselves a little too seriously. But
like the Terminator.
Yeah. Which one?
The Terminator.
Oh, is that the last one?
That's the only one with "the" in the title.
Is it?
Yeah. The original.
The original.
The last one was called like Dark Fury or something.
Was it?
Bullshit
I thought it was
like
just
that.
Terminator, like it was a reboot or something.
No. You're probably thinking of Predator.
Probably. I get so many movies mixed up now. But yeah, a lot like Terminator actually, that it does kind of take itself a bit seriously.
For as much as a 1980 whatever movie can.
Yeah, but again, that's like the granddaddy of those kinds of movies.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Definitely better than those awful Back to the Future movies. If our buddy is listening to this, I hope he knows that I'm just kidding. Actually, no, I love Back to the Future.
Yeah, so do I. I'm actually probably going to watch them again soon because we're having a family movie night and I'm going to pick those for my pick.
Oh, what time? What time should I be over?
Oh, whenever, actually. Let me see. The next family movie night will be 2 weeks from now. So I'll have to get back to you.
You're gonna watch Back to the Future for family movie night?
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you a list of movies that I recommend for family movie night.
Well, the way we do it for our family is we'll have each person pick a franchise and then we roll a dice and whoever had the right number, that's the movie franchise we watch for that week.
All right. So I'm going to give you a franchise that you will pick instead of the one that you were going to pick.
Okay. Like right now, it's Pirates of the Caribbean. That's the one I picked.
All right. And at the end of today, it's going to be Godzilla.
Oh. The next one for me will be Back to the Future.
Oh.
And then the one after that, I'll pick Godzilla.
Now we're talking about time travel again.
Yeah, we're talking about the future.
Yeah, the future. Time travel movies. What kind of time travel movies do you like? We're just kind of padding time out now. Yeah. I don't have much to say about this movie, unfortunately.
There's not much to say about this film.
Oh.
Other than just like...
What do you got in your notes?
Spoiling... We've hit everything in my notes.
Oh man, I should have took some notes.
Everything about this movie is basically just telling about the movie. Like, it would just be spoilers for the film. And I would prefer people to watch the film.
We already kind of spoiled it, though.
Well, we spoiled the ending and stuff. We didn't spoil the mid. And the mid is kind of the big stuff. The ending, honestly, is not that important in this kind of film for me.
I've got some things to say about this movie.
Oh, yeah?
We mentioned the runtime. Not only do I appreciate the small runtime, I also think that the pacing in this movie is pretty good.
Exactly, yeah. I can agree with that.
It never felt like we were spending too much time or too little time in any particular part of the movie.
Yeah, no scene is drawn out.
Yes.
One of the things I like about watching this movie over and over again is that when you watch it like a second time or a third time, you see the foreshadowing it does for the rest of the film.
It does do a little bit of foreshadowing.
Oh, it does a lot if you, like, for example, when they're coming back from the bathroom one of the times, they stop and there's a guy at the bar in a red hoodie.
Oh.
And then later on in the film, the main character has become that guy in the red hoodie. So they've already foreshadowed that they do this loop numerous times.
One thing I noticed when we started recording that I didn't put 2 and 2 together until I mentioned the giant ant is that they actually foreshadow the ant in that movie.
When he's looking down from his drink and sees an ant crawling across the table.
That's probably the same ant. Like who knows how long ants can live?
Yeah, I'm definitely no ant scientist.
I was expecting it to be cockroaches because they always say that they can survive.
Like anything.
So when this big giant CGI ant shows up, I'm like, it's the guy from earlier.
Yeah, the same actor.
That's the same actor. Yeah, it's nice that they let him have more than one scene.
Yeah. The ant I thought was a nice little, something bad was going to happen in that scene.
Yeah.
But you weren't quite sure what, and then the ant just pops up and you're like, oh, okay.
I was actually a little confused at first because I thought that the guy pushing the shopping cart was the same guy that walks in on them when they're in the bathroom, the old man.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think that's...
I'm going to have to rewatch that just
See,
to make sure.
I know, because it could be.
I don't think it is because, again, when they're that's the future by 90 years at that point.
Uh-huh.
And that old man, I guess he could have traveled through to that time as well, but I don't think he would have survived. Obviously, he doesn't survive because he dies.
Yes.
Yeah. So I kind of hope that isn't the same old man because he had a very brief moment, but that old man was comedy to me. I don't want him to die now.
We've talked at length about this movie. Nate, would you recommend this movie to anybody?
Yeah. If you're a diehard fan of time travel films, then I highly recommend this film. If you're a fan of comedy, then I would say I'd give it probably an 8 out of 10. It's got some pretty decent comedy. It does have some boring moments. Not gonna lie. It can be boring.
Yeah, a little. I didn't think it was too slow. This is your spiel.
Yeah, well, it's not that I'm saying it's slow. I'm saying that there are parts where there's just not a lot of action.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And, especially in this day and age, action is kind of force-fed us a lot. So people who aren't quite used to that kind of film would probably find it boring. And to that, I would say, yeah, probably not the best film for you to watch.
So you recommend it, but...
I recommend it to people who enjoy a slow burn.
Okay. Yeah. I will say, yeah, I recommend it. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have HBO Max and you're in the mood for time travel and
YOLO.
You don't want to watch something better for some reason, then yeah, why not?
I mean, that's kind of what happened to me when I first watched it.
Mm-hmm.
I had just finished watching another time traveling film on Amazon Prime. And it was in my recommended. It's like, hey, if you like this, try it out. And I remembered seeing Chris O'Dowd, and I was like, oh, I've never seen him as a main character. I'm going to give this a shot. See if he holds up his acting chops.
Yeah.
And I think I liked it.
So, it gets the What's Playing Tonight, recommendation.
Yeah.
We're going to switch gears for a little bit because we are a movie podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something interesting.
Okay.
I have pulled up the 2022 Academy Award for Best Picture nominees.
Oh no.
And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to name these off, and then I want to know if you've actually seen any of them.
Probably not. I don't think I've seen any new films. Well, okay, I've probably seen a couple, if they're like Netflix and stuff.
We'll see.
Alright.
Nightmare Alley.
Never even heard of it.
It's a Benicio del Toro movie.
Okay, I like his stuff.
Don't Look Up.
I've heard of it, have not seen it, and actually planned on watching it when I return home tonight.
I'm actually surprised. I thought you would have watched it by now. I haven't seen it.
It's been on my list, but I've just been, whenever I watch things, I try to go through an order.
And just not to, because I don't want to only point out your unculturedness, I'm going to point my own out and say that I have also not seen Nightmare Alley or Don't Look Up.
Okay.
Dune.
I have seen that. It was a fantastic film. I actually would say I probably liked it better than the original.
Really?
Yes. Mainly for, like, again, little nitpicky reasons. But overall, I guess maybe also the visual effects, in my opinion, were better, obviously, because...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But the way they treated some of the characters, I think, was better.
In the new one.
Yeah. Like, I don't remember his name, which is absurd to me because he has an absurd name. Jason Momoa's character in that film.
Wasn't it like North Carolina or something like that?
It is an absurd name for a being. But the way his character is shown to be such a badass. What is it?
You're speaking of Duncan, Idaho.
Yeah. Such a ridiculous name.
I kind of love that, yeah.
Especially amongst all of the other characters who, like, it's just such
I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hi, I'm Duncan, Idaho.
Yeah, like, all these names, it doesn't match with the tone of the other characters.
Well, I mean, their names are like Paul, Jessica, Duncan, Idaho.
They normal and then Duncan, Idaho. And they don't just say Duncan, they have to say Duncan, Idaho.
It's true.
Like, it's it's great. But the way they show that he's such a complete badass in the newer film. In the in the first one, or in the original, he was a badass. Like, they talk about how much of a badass he is. And
before you say anything else, if people haven't seen Dune, let's not spoil what happens in Dune.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say that that's pretty much it. They don't really show a badass moment, whereas Jason Momoa gets several.
Yeah, I've heard that he's actually not in the original as much. Like, he's a much more minor character.
Yeah, which is the reason why I liked it a lot more.
I think, because I haven't seen the original Dune. I've only seen this new one, and I thought it was really good.
Okay.
I'm with you. I think the special effects were really good. Mm-hmm. I think that, I don't know if I would say that, I can't pronounce the director's name. Denis Villeneuve?
Yeah.
That guy. If you're listening, and you're not, but I'm sorry I mispronounced your name. I don't know if I would say it's his best movie that I've seen, but I think it's pretty good. I think that what they're doing, and this is something that people bitched and moaned about with the Hobbit movies, I think that they're taking, the fact that they're doing the book in 2 movies really lets them do things like have Duncan, Idaho be in the movie more, because you don't have to try and cut everything into a 2-hour movie. Although I hear that the old one has its charms.
Yeah. The old one, is another sci-fi film that I love. It was a great film.
Right.
I loved how it built the world within the time span of the film. But yeah, like, it does have it's an old-timey charm. Whereas the Dune new reboot has just epic charm. It just feels like you're on an amazing adventure kind of thing.
All right. Well, that's been our Dune cast for the week. We probably won't talk about any of these other movies as much. But, well, okay, so we both seen Dune.
Yes.
Drive My Car.
Never heard of it.
It's a Japanese movie.
Okay.
Belfast.
Never heard of it.
Me neither. Licorice Pizza.
No, no. I was about to say yeah, but no, it's not the movie I was thinking of.
Right. The Power of the Dog.
Nope. Can't say I've heard of that.
I've heard of that one at least. It's on Netflix. The West Side Story remake. Did you see that?
I have not seen it, but also I wasn't a big fan of the original West Side Story.
Yeah.
So I'm not too eager to watch this.
Fair enough. King Richard.
I've heard of it. I've seen clips of it, and that's about it. I have not actually watched the movie.
And then the actual winner for Best Picture is a movie called Coda.
Nope, can't say I've heard of that one either.
Yeah, I think it's a French film.
Okay.
But, okay. So that was a nice glimpse into...
one out of
how many movies that were actually nominated for Oscars. Honestly, though, I don't care about the Oscars. We're a movie podcast, so I kind of feel like we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not, while I'm not a, diehard fan of the Oscars, I do think that some of these movies would be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
But I have a bunch of other stuff that I have to watch.
There's another film that just came out, actually, that I'm wanting to watch.
The Bubble. I saw something about that. Who the hell's directed The Bubble? It was a name I recognized.
Judd Apatow.
Judd Apatow, that's where I know it.
Yeah. I saw the trailer only maybe not even 2 weeks ago, a week ago. And I was like, this looks funny. I'm probably going to have to watch this. So yeah,
Is that out now?
Yeah.
That your weekly recommendation to people?
Yeah, I would. Well, I can't
recommend it because you
yet.
haven't seen it. Yeah,
but it is my weekly recommendation for myself because I do plan on watching it this week.
I guess we could talk about our what we plan to watch.
Yeah.
For the next week besides this movie that I'm about to pick for us. So you're planning to watch The Bubble?
Yes. Moon Knight episode 2.
I will be
catching up
on Moon Knight as well.
Yeah. Let's see here. What other films? Oh, so I'm not a big fan of watching movies with subtitles. Dub before sub, in my opinion. Because if I want to read, I'll read books or manga. So, I'm going to actually watch a film with nothing but subtitles willingly for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Called The Fable.
The Fable?
Yes. It is about a professional killer who has, since he was a child, known nothing but being a professional killer.
Okay.
And his boss is like, alright, our organization needs to lay low for a bit, so you go live a normal life for a year. And so that's the story, is that he is going to try to live a normal life without having any real idea of what a normal life is for a year. I've been reading the manga for it and love the manga. It's a great one. Highly recommend it. So I'm actually looking forward to watching the movie.
I see. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm planning on watching?
No.
Well, we've reached the end of the show, which means it's time to pick our next movie. Each episode, one of us is at the mercy of the other. Since Nate picked this movie, it's my turn.
Oh dear.
We're going to be watching a 1959 movie.
What?
It is a mystery horror. It's called The Bat.
I'm guessing it's not about Batman.
No, it is not about Batman.
Or Morbius.
But Vincent Price is in this movie.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think
that's
we have
a plus.
That is a plus. I think so too.
Yeah.
Before we kind of just say goodbye, I do want to say we welcome all comments.
And yes, any comments that you want, whether negative or positive, allows me to nitpick any of them, and I welcome them all.
Stop antagonizing our viewers. if you want to comment, you can down in the comment section on this video, or you can email us at whatsplayingtonight@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. We have a Twitter specifically for the show, @tonightplaying. And we'd love to hear from you.
Before we go, would you like to tell them where we would be watching The Bat?
That is a good point. Yes, The Bat, you can watch it almost anywhere. You can watch The Bat on Tubi for free with ads. You can watch it if you have Paramount Plus. I saw it was on Amazon Prime earlier. And yeah, there are a lot of places to watch it. And we hope that you do watch it. And that, yeah, you know what? Watch the movie. And if you email your thoughts about the movie to us, we will read them, and then Nate can nitpick them live on air.
Woohoo!
Live on air. All right. Well, I fumbled my words enough for one evening. I think you got any last words?
Hope you enjoyed the podcast. We promise we will do better in the future because we learn from the past.
Well put.
Thank you.
Well put. Anyway, this has been What's Playing Tonight. I'm Ty.
And I'm Nate.
And we'll see you later.